process. And by the time they're done, they're so mad because, well, the building inspector showed up and he did this and he said that. So I don't know if there's any way that when they make the application, somebody could explain to them exactly what the process has to be, basically. Like, I know that's not our job, but if we're going to be liable for it in the end.
And I think give them a list of inspections, you know, and inspect the footings before they pour concrete. What more can you do?
Okay.
And if you have a concern about something happening, like, don't hesitate to let us know. Dale has agreed that, yeah, if he's driving around town and he sees something, he'll stop, he'll talk to them. We have bylaw enforcement as well that can go out and see if they have a building permit. So I think we can address those.
Yeah, just a comment that, like, I mean, maybe he's gonna do that, but usually you would dig the hole right out, put your footings in, and then do your fill after, then put your slab on top, right? Because he's got to bring services and that in through there, I'm assuming. So anyway, it was just an observation. So
yep.
Anything else?
I think town this size needs a building inspector and on, you know, a full-time basis, and that's just my opinion, but you know, I'm a little jaded because I'm a builder in town, and you know, Dale is a competent building inspector. So and I understand you've got him, you know, on contract, and that's great, but it's yeah, my business hasn't had any problems, but I, you know, also I've been doing this in town a long time, so I know when to call and when to, you know, have the process right. But yeah, having a building inspector is an important thing in a town, especially in a busy time like this. So anyway, that's.
Okay, that's it. All right, then moving on to 5, new business housing strategy. Scott, or
Yeah, so this is something that we are now legislated to have. I think it's by January or February of 2022. Each community in British Columbia is required to have a housing needs report, and so we've been working on it. It's been kind of on the back burner, but we just engaged City Spaces Consulting to complete this for us. We're gonna roll in some of the public consultation in with what we're gonna be doing this summer for the zoning. And yeah, there was a grant that District 6 was successful in getting from UBCM. So yeah, most of it is being paid for by UBCM, but I think this is going to be important as we, you know, start looking at short-term rentals and other opportunities for housing in the community. And yeah, this is just an update of a project we're working on, and we're going to start the consultation this summer.
okay, any comments?
I
think Deb had a question.
yeah, so how do you guys want me to comment? Do you want me to like raise my hand? Oh, sorry. Let me figure, unmute. No, yeah, can you hear me?
I think the issue is with our speaker.
But if you get
Our volume that's turned down.
the remote for the TV and turn up the volume.
Try talking again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
No,
Turn up your mic.
try
yeah,
talking again.
Yeah,
Deb, I can hear you just fine.
okay. Okay, well, the only thing I was gonna say is you know, they mentioned some temporary use applications and that for housing needs. And I know not everybody's a fan, but I'm a big fan. I think we've got some immediate needs where if we can do some things that allow temporary approvals and such, that's great. That's all.
Well, it was nice, whatever she said. Did anybody hear that?
Want to ask, Carly was on, she's not anymore. Maybe ask Trina if she can talk and.
I'm gonna call her.
Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
You're talking now?
I am talking. I'm not sure if you can
Deb's
hear
still
me.
talking.
We have technical difficulties.
Who's below Deb there?
That's Trina. She's trying to talk too.
Hello.
So it's just not working.
Yeah, I can hear Trina. Oh, oh,
Yeah, so this isn't gonna work because. Yeah,
You just have Deb on speakerphone. That's all right. We can talk that way.
she's gotta shut her mic off though, or it'll just reverb.
okay. I will do that.
Mic off, Deb.
Yeah, I don't.
Technology.
Grant is online and he's working on it.
Okay, say your piece.
Can anybody hear me?
Not good.
Not good.
Submissions from online should be emailed in.
Chat, use the chat.
Can I cut the call?
Yeah, use the chat. That's a good idea.
Okay, so if there's no other comments on the memo, we'll move on to the Bruin Bridge urban design.
So the underside of the bridge right now acts as an important connection points between the nearby public spaces. And as the Bruin Bridge design is in its detailed design phase, this is a perfect opportunity to present ideas to improve and beautify the underside of the bridge. And also use that area as a prominent public space as well. So in 2020, Sycamore's downtown plan document was created, which included bubble diagrams for explaining different opportunities in specific sub areas within Sycamore's. And lighting and artwork, mural art were two of the many concepts that was presented specifically for the Channel Precinct. And on the screen, that are some of the president images from that booklet. So,
Just want to see if we can hear Deb or Trina.
okay, do you want to try? Maybe
That's
Deb
what-
can talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah. Hear you now. Perfect.
okay. So the new Bruin Bridge designed by MOTI includes pair of lights below the bridge deck, day mark signs, and reflective signs on both the sides. And the illustration sketch actually shows the concept of proposing some artistic lighting design being projected from the underside of the bridge to light the piers and columns. And also the reflected signs on water that would create a great landmark effect during winters especially. And another idea was to propose some mural art for Pier 1 and 2, which would also increase the vibrancy of that space and also act as a feature wall for tourists. So yeah, this is a summary. And based on an article in the local Eagle Valley newspaper on June 1, it says that MOTI is currently engaging with the Splatsin First Nations to identify opportunities for inclusion of Indigenous artwork as part of their project. So that is already on the go. Yeah, so we just wanted to get feedback from the committee on how to approach to the MOTI on the lighting. And
Any comments? Go ahead, Gord.
Yeah, I think Stephanie did a great job here and illustrating different options that we could maybe work with highways. We're in the process of actually meeting individually with highways And they're coming to council next council meeting, I think, not highways, a contractor. And I did tell him about Steffi's homework project, and he's made note of it. But yeah, I think it's something we should ask for sure, and see if they can highlight it. And I think you got some great ideas there.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it, but I think you guys know how I feel about lighting. I've been kind of pushing for different lighting for a bit. So, you know, like my only thing is our results, you know, like, and I'd like to see more on Main Street and everything and tying in with the bridge and such. You know, obviously, the lighting on 97 didn't work out quite as planned. I don't think it's very effective. So it's just, you know, we got to get it right would be my comment. So.
Yeah, that I think that I think that could be a great area down there, and it could turn in, it could be either, this blah concrete, or it could be this real vibrant thing, and, great place for people to walk down in the beach park and a landmark. So I think that getting people involved from the town that are part of the Arts Council, and possibly involving some people that we've got some talented people in our town. We just have to reach out to them. We've got a gentleman that does metalwork that's amazing, and he sells it. He's got a CNC machine and everything, and there's things like that can be really really well done, and I would say durability is a major on this one, because in 5 years, if it's all worn out and all looks tattered, it's a fail. Yeah, but things like steel powder coating and the type of lighting you're using, that there's a real big difference between the quality of some of the LED lighting and some of the cheap stuff that people can go to. And I think along the pathway along 97, I agree with Deb. I think I question, who decided on what the specific lighting, and then it should be someone like a lighting designer, someone who knows exactly what they're talking about, and that has to do with durability as well. And if you're going to have an electrician go and fix it every 2 weeks, that's not very good for the town either. So
I'll just make a comment before we go back to you, please. I've done quite a few different projects where lighting was a requirement, and they've spent a fortune on a lighting engineer, and it looked like garbage when it was done. You don't know exactly what the effect of it's going to be until it's built. We did our roundabout, and we built it, and then the lighting came after the thing was there. They came and put the lighting in afterwards. Our biggest concern, or my biggest concern, would be with our roundabout. They were supposed to put the power to certain locations, and they didn't even have it to the pole. We had to actually put it all in. So that's one big concern. If you're going to work with MOTI, is, oh yeah, you guys can go ahead and put the lighting up. You can do this, you can do that. We'll put a hole here for you. Pull a cord too, right?
Yeah.
And so my suggestion would be, and this is just open for just discussion, but we went to Whistler, and we went for a tour, and we hiked through the trees, and they had holograms. The beauty of a hologram is you can change it. And I don't think that hologram that we were looking at, Gord, with the camper, there's those guys in tents. That's what it looked like. It looked like a guy in a tent, and there was music playing in the background. And so the things that you can do with a hologram, and when it was done, when the show was done or whatever, I went up there to look. It was just a piece of netting basically hanging there with this projector working on it, but it had the 3D visual to it. It was amazing. Like, and the beauty of it is that times change. You do something that's going to be 70 years fixed as one thing, you're going to have to do repair to it. Whereas you use a hologram, you can update it with what the community's doing. I mean, you could use that hologram to have messages. It could be your message board. It could be, people stop there like at the beach park on the way through, because you're going to have a big surface there, I'm assuming, towards the east on that one. And you might have a big surface again on the west. And you can create these holograms for the rail trail for our side of it. And with a hologram, you could make what you're looking at. This is this your drawing, Steffi?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could have that drawing on the hologram. You could actually have people walking. Like, it's amazing what you can do with it. So that was probably one of the best parts of that whole Whistler thing we went to. Other than that. Go ahead, through the chair.
Yeah, to the chair, yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think we have to spin this with the Ministry of Transportation to see how they can formulate this into their design and how they intend to actually support this financially.
And the beauty of a hologram is that it's not a massive flood out type of light. It's dark. It's a subtle, because that's the only time you're going to notice it is at night anyway. So it's a subtle light. It's not a blinding light. Like some of these pictures in here, I mean, you're going to see that from space, a couple of them. And when you go to the States, places like Arizona, Texas, and some places in California, they're very specific and very emphatic about light pollution. Light pollution down there is as bad as noise pollution, because the more light you have, the less you can see if the stars at night. So just a couple thoughts. And I don't know, I got an appointment, I think, with that guy at 11 tomorrow. Go ahead, Gord.
Yeah, just one more comment on the lighting. I don't know if you guys remember when the big salmon run was going on. They had a exhibit under the Canby Bridge in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It was a hollow thing.
Yeah.
And it showed all the salmon. So that was really cool. And I think the First Nations were involved in that one too. So if you could Google that one, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
Like, that's just a personal opinion. I just think that if you start hiring people to do murals and all this other stuff, you've got something that's there and it's fixed, and you're not going to change it afterwards. Where if you have people that do, you still need to have a theme and everything else to do the whole. And I don't know how that thing worked, and I really don't know how expensive it was. But I mean, you can buy that machine that makes it look like you got snowflakes on your house, or lights. Like, everybody comes to my place and goes, "Geez, you put lights in that 80-foot tree." No, I don't. I got a thing that points at it. It lit it. That's not me. It took me 5 minutes to plug it in. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, no, and one of the meetings with Jennifer Sykes that they were looking at these murals or some way in order to enhance the underneath of that bridge and the lighting concept and whatnot. But I'd like to see that part of the scope when they put this together in the design, so that the cost of it is on their shoulders and not on ours. That's my main concern. But I love this idea. I could just imagine what it could be like. I mean, just a vision of how we, built the roundabout and so forth. But I can just imagine what this would look like, sitting at Beach Park at nighttime. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, like I said, it's not, that becomes a fluid. You could have it on, if that was the actual bridge, you could have it on each one of those things, and then on the big cement wall. So you got 5 or 6 of them, and you can showcase things in town. Basically, you could use it like advertising, or you could tell a story about us. So.
And the other thing is a really cool one is the London Bridge in Lake Havasu. How well it's lit up from underneath.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a showpiece.
They built that bridge and then dug the trench, right?
Yeah.
They could put the lights on a pedestrian bridge too.
Those would be big lights. Okay, any more comments on the bridge concept?
I just have one comment.
Go ahead.
Sorry. One of the things that people that I've heard from tourists is that when they're looking down the channel at the bridges right now, it's not a very nice thing. So I think that perspective from looking down the channel from south, looking north, that is a very important thing. Maybe we drive past it all the time and not think about it, but you also when you're on the channel looking that way, or mooses, or across on the rail trail or something, that perspective is something to keep. I think is very important. With the light coming off the water and everything. So anyway.
Any more? All right, 5C. Number 5 Highway 97A. It's a mobile home park, residential, wishes to add their existing. Go ahead, Scott.
So this is an application we received for a development permit and a development variance permit. It's on Highway 97 south of Sick Moose Creek, I guess. The drawing you can see on the screen, there's the subject property. It's already an existing mobile home park and they want to add 5 units. So they're required to get a development permit for the form and character. And then also they're looking for some variances as well. Here's the map. As you can see, it's designated rural in the official community plan and R4 in the zoning bylaw. So the R4 zone is the multifamily zone. Here's the drawing that was submitted. This shows the layout of the 5 lots. So right now it's a storage yard. If you drive by, there's some vehicles parked there. Had 5 units there. They're required to do some landscaping and things along the fence line. And I think they've agreed to do everything they're required to do. And then the variances, as you can see, they have a couple of different variances. There's the landscape buffer, and they've it's interesting actually. They want to do more, or it's recommended they do a little bit more from the highway. There's actually a height that maximum height. So they're actually asking to go higher than the maximum height from 0.9 meters to 1.2 meters. The setback from the center line of the highway is 30 meters. They'd like to, and that's in our bylaw, and they'd like to have the landscaping from 26 point something meters of the highway, the controlled access highway. And then also interior, the access aisle from 8 meters to 6 meters. They're willing to work with us. Sarah's been working with them for quite a while. Brent may be on the line. I believe he is. He's the agent for the owner, I believe. He may be the owner, but he's available for questions. We're bringing this to this committee. You can offer advice to staff or to the applicant, and we're looking at bringing this to the council meeting June 23rd.
So is the applicant online?
I believe he is, Brent.
Brent? Brent, do you have any comment?
No, sorry, I was fighting to find the mute button, but I found it now. So yeah, thank you for that. And I am the owner and the applicant. The fence line, I was not quite sure about you mentioned 9 meters height on the fence. I'm not sure we decided exactly what to do on the fence, but we're willing to do what's necessary there, one way or the other.
9-meter fence. Nine meters. I don't think the fence is to be 9 meters high. I'm hoping it's not 9 meters high.
No, I had definitely not intended on doing a 9-meter high fence, so I'm not sure where that one came through. Something may have got mixed up there.
It says 0.9.
0.9.
Oh, that's better. Yeah. Woo, I
Hey,
feel
we
better.
We missed the point part. So, I guess, we drove by there this morning. You're a new owner of this in the last year or more, or just less, correct?
2 years ago. Yeah, owned it
years
for
ago.
2 years now. Yeah.
Okay. And, as we see, there's a unit there that looks, in pretty tough shape. It looks like you're renovating it. Is that what you're going to be putting there, is buying used that need some work to them to put on there? Or are you putting new units on there?
Brand new units.
Brand new
So
units?
we've been in discussions with Countrywide Mobile and or in the final strokes of finalizing a contract with them to procure all units through them under exclusivity, if you will.
So are you going to continue on the one existing one, or are you going to abandon that? That'll be a new unit as well.
I haven't 100% decided. We've got in there. It is either going to be a complete demolition and removal and replaced with a brand new unit, or once I've finished gutting it all the way down to the bones, exposed all the plumbing, all the electrical. There is a chance that we will be rebuilding it. It looks like that's likely, but it's not for sure.
Okay.
The intent is to make it look just like the new units, though.
Okay. Personal comment, like there on the highway, the trees on the front, are you going to be taking all those trees out, because they're basically just cottonwood weeds anyway? So are you removing those?
Yes. The plan would be to remove them and go with a nicer fence and shrubs and cedar hedging, but not cedar hedging nose to tail, but in sections.
So, that would be great, because it would clean it up. We tried to get Ernie to put some slatting in that fence or do something, because it was a storage thing, and you're coming right into town, and unfortunately you're the first place. So I just I seen a fence this morning, not a fence, but what do you call that stuff? Allen block wall that's in front of Shockers, like you're talking about 0.9, so that's only 3 feet. Would Allen block work for that little buffer zone with some vegetation in it?
It could, yeah, I need to see it.
Pardon me?
I need to look at it, but.
I wanted some front of Shockers, like do that on his front.
On Riverside.
On Riverside, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty open. I'm with you. I want it to look really nice as you roll up and really sell the place and sell Sycamoose. I agree with all that. So I'm quite open to working with everybody there to make it right.
Yeah, if you were to go down Riverside where it's 997 Riverside, you'll see it. He's got some Allen blocks in front of his chain link fence. That was the other question that we were asking about as well, Brent, are you planning on removing that chain link fence, or are you leaving it up there?
No, I think it will present much nicer with it coming down, and like I said, putting up a nice landscaped border along there. My vision was like a type of smaller discrete metal fencing with cedars at posts or every second post, and some vegetation along the line as well. I have to still work through my mind about what can stand up to snow plowing in the winter along that fence line, and but that's the invasion at the moment.
Okay. Any comments, Gord?
Through the chair, yeah, Brent, thanks very much for beautifying and updating your property. It's be a great asset to have 5 more rental homes in Sycamoose. And
Yeah.
yeah, really excited to clean up that property because it has been left alone for quite a while. And then, I mean, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but don't forget we have a manufacturer of park models in Sycamoose too. So yeah, give TA Structures a call. You never know, you might be able to beat their price.
Ah, excellent. You know, I didn't know that. I've been trying to, of course, I'm from Abbotsford myself, but to have a strong affiliation and history with Sycamoose, so it's a place it's soft in my heart, if you will. But I've been trying to use locally for as much as I can. So I appreciate that lead. I will definitely do that.
Yep, no, always trying to keep the plant, keep employees going at the plant. So it's, I mean, I know they're busy, but just thought I'd let you know in case you didn't know.
Yeah, and I didn't. So that's TA Mobiles?
TA Structures.
TA Structures. Fantastic. Yeah, I'll reach out to them this week. You caught me just in time because the folks in Salmon Arm have almost got me. So
Yeah, they build lots of product around, and it's a division of Twin Anchors. Houseboats.
okay. Great.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Brian.
Hello, Brent. Yeah, I think that's great that you're gonna clean up that spot. It was this morning, it was looking a little bit tattered. My question is, though, if those are rentals, who handles the landscaping for those houses? Is it you, or is it the individual renters, or how does that coming into town? It's right there for everyone to see, and not just your border, but the yards in front and that green space on the northwest side of that property.
Yeah, how it works is the green space and common space is maintained by myself as the park owner, and then the individual lots there's a set of rules associated to the home owner. I only rent the pad, not the house itself. Anyway, there's a set of rules that dictates a minimum requirement to landscaping and upkeep of their personal lot. Right.
I just, I kind of looked around the park there, and it seems like that's kind of let go a little bit. And I know you can't, it's hard to police, and maybe tough to take care of the landscaping in the summertime when you're in Abbotsford. I'm not sure if you're.
I have a caretaker resident at the park to do that for me.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Those cedars, cedars work really well in Sycamoose. I know that. So I look forward to seeing your border there. I think varying that from 6 meters to 1.5 is reasonable, as long as there's enough plants in there, enough shrubs and everything. I don't see the need to be that wide, but that's my take on it. I think 1.5 is more than enough.
Great. Yeah, and again, we can go higher. I'm not sure it'll give the best presentation, but yeah.
Deb, do you have a comment?
Brent, don't do it on the gut, on the rebuild. But anyway, that's just from personal experience. Yeah, it's really tough you can make it look good from the outside for us, but on the inside, it's really hard to get something that has value and doesn't cost you a small fortune. But otherwise,
Okay.
yeah, no, I think that this will be much better than the storage that Ernie had there. I think it'll look a lot better, and it has to be managed. And I'm personally, aware of that sort of thing, but it can be done. So no, I think everything you're saying sounds good.
Great.
Any comments from staff? No? Any other comments, Brett?
No, just thanks for all the great feedback. And I know Sarah's not there, but I just, you know, pass on my thanks for helping me out and working my way through this. I'm a rookie at all this stuff, so I'm sure I've asked lots of silly questions and made some mistakes, and she's helped tremendously. So
Good, glad to hear that. Thank you. All right, so if there's no more comments on that, B 926 Seed Frontage Road. Okay, go ahead, Scott.
So this is, we'll call this a pre-application. I've been talking to Trina and Brian. I believe Trina is on the line.
I am.
Yeah, they'd like to submit an application for a property on Seed Frontage Road, which is, you can see it's visible from the Trans-Canada Highway. There's just that median separating two. It's the vacant lot beside Sycamore Cedar Products. So the owner is Sycamore Cedar Products. The applicants, Trina and Brian, would like to apply for a temporary use permit for and the temporary use permit addresses the use of the property. So it's zone C2 highway commercial. They would like to place an RV on the property and then use that as full-time accommodation. They'd like to start a small business from the property and also offer security to Sycamore Cedar Products. As you see, the property is in the highway commercial OCP designation, which requires a development permit. And then here's the drawing that was submitted, showing an idea of what they want to do. Again, the temporary use permit addresses the use. So campgrounds are permitted use in the zone, and a dwelling is permitted for a caretaker or an owner of a business, although that dwelling needs to be part of a commercial building. So yeah, we'd be looking at this temporary use. Rezoning is also an option. But yeah, coming up with a solution to allow that RV to be parked on the property. So right now you're not allowed to live full-time in an RV in a campground. And then the other part of the application is the development permit. So there's the building form and character, materials, landscaping, and screening. The drawing shows some of the ideas for the property with the gravel and the driveway. And then the location of the fifth wheel. They want to have a deck that wouldn't be necessarily attached to the fifth wheel, and then a shed as well. So yeah, we've asked them for some additional information, some drawings of what it's going to look like from the Seed Frontage Road, and then some measurements of the property lines. Another option that could be considered would be, tying it all in with Sycamore Cedar Products. This could be considered an accessory use or the dwelling unit that's permitted for the business at Sycamore Cedar Products, and addressing the view of Sycamore Products from the highway as well. But yeah, we'll consider this pre-application, looking for some feedback from the committee, what the committee feels would be appropriate there. And again, Trina's on the line if you have any questions for her.
Comments?
I mentioned earlier, I like the temporary use permit approach. Basically, it gives them a chance to show us what they can do with the property before we look at anything more formal, and that gives them 3 years for them to try it and for us to see what they can do.
Gord?
Yeah, that's great to see somebody take a look at the property and clean it up, because it's been dilapidated and, the grass is pretty tall. It's never been cut for years. And yeah, and then ever since the house burned down, it's been a little bit of an eyesore. So good to see you want to spruce it up and maybe run a business there, Trina.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas on your business? You say a landscape company. Is that like a landscape maintenance company, or is a landscape supply company?
It would be a landscape maintenance company. I'm actually still working. I work in Salmon Arm, which I continue to do, but my husband, Brian, he wants to start like a landscape maintenance company. Not landscaping per se, but mowing lawns. He's got the equipment to do snow removal in the winter, He's got the ride-on tractor. He's got all the toys and accessories to go along with that to be able to do that. Hoping to get some regular clientele, that type of thing. So.
Hey, thank you.
Brian?
Yeah, hello, Trina. Question for you. The equipment for that business, I assume that that's going to be parked on this this gravel patch there.
That's kind of the purpose of the shed. We're not real big on having stuff sitting around. We're pretty picky on how our yard looks, to be honest with you. So
Sounds good.
gravel in the front it's essentially a beautification. Let's put it that way. We've been talking to Steve about this for a long time. And so because right now it's basically just weeds, we thought it would look nice if it had like a gravel front, because there is a driveway on both sides of that property. It would be nice to do like a roundabout driveway, you know, fix it up so that it comes in and out on both sides, but just have the gravel just to kind of make it look nicer. And then gravel, of course, would be to put the fifth wheel on so that it's, you know, you can level it a little bit better. And then our plan was to put like just a little ground level deck coming out from the fifth wheel, and then a shed behind the fifth wheel, which would be where we would store the items that Brian would use for the maintenance business.
Sounds good. I'm a little confused about your drawing.
Yeah, I'm not a great artist.
No, it's good. It says second, it's got property line, it says second lot, and then Sycamore Cedar Products. I thought you were right, this property was right beside Sycamore Cedar property.
Well, it is and it's not. Steve he actually owns those 3 lots in a row. So yeah, so this would be the end lot. So he owns 926 and 930, I think it is. Don't quote me on the numbers on that, but or 92, whatever it is, going the other way. So he's got Sycamore Cedar is on one of them. Actually, I think I've got the numbers here.
Yeah, so 930, 926, and 922 are.
I think he's 930 and 934. Because 926 is the end lot, and then there's
Okay.
it used to be the museum or something beside that one on the other side. So I think he's 930 and 934.
Okay, yeah, no, I've got you now.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I think you're gonna need some landscaping skills to clean up that lot, but it's
Oh
gonna.
yeah, definitely. We have been out there walking that lot a lot. And I can tell you that it'll be a challenge, but I could show you pictures of our home now and the home before this and what they look like when we bought them and what they look like when we were done. So this is nothing new for us to come in and clean things up and make them look nice, aesthetically nice. I know
great.
Underneath the weeds going down I always get my directions mixed up, but the house that's on the one side of it anyway, going down that one side, there's actually flowers that go down. You never know what to look at it now, but my plan is to kind of clean it up, have the flowers so they're visible. I know I didn't put anything because I wasn't aware at the time. We didn't put anything about the screening in front of the lot, but we would definitely put, I think Brian spoke with Scott, said that we would put some cedars or something across the front, you know, and just kind of generally make it look nice, but it definitely needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, no, no, I think that sounds pretty good. That sounds.
And I'll just give you kind of a brief idea of the reason behind the fifth wheel. Brian and I actually both grew up in Sycamoose. My dad built tons of homes in Sycamoose. He built what used to be at one point in time the Blue SHUSWAP restaurant on the corner by the school. So that's kind of where we grew up. It's where we'd like to retire. You know, because the kids are all gone now. We're kind of downsizing. So that's where the fifth wheel idea comes from, you know, because for one thing, the kids can never come home. If you're in a fifth wheel. But second of all, we just are at that point in our lives where we just don't need a whole lot anymore. We don't need a big home or any of that kind of stuff anymore. But that's kind of where that idea came from, is just be comfortable and cozy and, you know, that kind of thing, so. And to have a home that's paid for, which would be really nice for a change.
Nice.
No, it sounds great, Trina. My only comment was gonna be, but you answered it. You basically said you're gonna put some cedars in front there. I'd just like to see it that we don't end up with a bunch of phone calls because temporary use permit for a trailer, which is on a separate piece of property, as Scott said, if it was, they're all owned by the same person, but you still have property lines, and so that's an empty property, an empty lot.
Yeah.
So we'll get calls for sure. Like
We have spoken to the neighbors. Steve has spoken to the neighbors just to ask their opinion on this, and so far everyone is okay with it.
Yeah, it's not the neighbors, it's the people who said that they wanted to build a house someplace and throw a fifth wheel on while they were doing it. They got told no, so.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Now we're gonna allow somebody to set it up and live on it, so. It's so, I heard Scott mention a couple of options of how this could play out, and I think if you work with staff a little bit so that however they suggest it, just like I said, if you grew up in Sycamore, you know how fast a rumor starts.
Oh, yeah.
And then how long it takes to dispel it, so.
Yeah.
No, it's great. I mean, if you clean that property up, and if you clean that one up, are you gonna keep moving east? Or are you gonna clean it?
Well, there's probably a good chance of that because we kind of like get crazy if we have to look at too much mess for too long. So probably, and that's kind of the, sort of the agreement that we had with Steve, like that was, he likes the idea of having us there because he's gone so much. So we would also be providing security for him on that property as well. And plus, Brian would be providing some lawn maintenance for Steve on his own lot at the same time. So good chance that a lot of that will definitely be cleaned up on that other lot as well. So I can't say it'll happen right away, but likely, yes.
Okay, great. Well, like I said, thank you for bringing this forward, and I think the staff can figure a way for it, but it is a temporary use permit and it is for 3 years, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
anything else?
Just wondering what the next step would be then. Is there something I need to do now, or do I wait to hear back from somebody, or what would the next step be?
Scott will address that.
So I sent you the letter, just what is missing for the application.
Was that the site disclosure statement?
Yeah, the site disclosure statement, but then there is, on a little more detail on the landscaping and what it's going to look like when you're standing in front of it.
Okay.
And that type of thing. And we'll try and make as much of it part of the permit as we can.
Okay.
But yeah, likely the next step would be a council will consider it on the 23rd.
23rd of June.
So we'll work towards that date and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Okay, then I have one other question, Trina.
Yes.
When I need a letter handwritten, who did this?
I'm sorry?
Who hand wrote this letter?
I did.
Okay, well then I'll stop by but I need a handwritten letter.
Okay.
Very good, legible.
Oh.
Impressed with your penmanship.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Trina.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye now.
Okay, next, item E, 21-175-DP 1209 SHUSWAP Avenue. Okay. We did a drive-by, but go ahead, Scott.
Okay, so this is an application for a development permit for a 1,200 square foot commercial building. It's an existing rental operation on the property. So the building would be to service and repair some of the rentals for automobiles and boats and sea-doos, I believe. The property, as you can see from the drawing, it's right behind the Brothers Pub. on SHUSWAP Ave. There's a single-family dwelling at the front of the property, and the building is proposed for the backside of the property. So probably right now is designated town center, which requires a development permit, and then it's also zoned C1 town center. Here you can see a drawing provided by the applicant. So the development permit would require some information on the form and character, screening and landscaping for the property. And then the zoning addresses the use of the property. So rentals are, it's hard to say if they'd be a for sure permitted use. And then the second party storage. So if someone is coming and storing stuff on, if they're paying you to store your boat, I'd say that's probably a non-conforming use, but storing, commercial equipment or a business on the property, that would probably be a permitted use. And the single family dwelling, again, that you're allowed a residence for the owner, the caretaker of the property. It's supposed to be part of the commercial property. So I'd say the single family dwelling is probably, again, a non-conforming use. This application, really, it's a development permit. So we'd be looking at the form and character, screening, landscaping, that type of thing. Trevor Shevsky is the applicant. I believe he's on the line. If anybody has any questions, this is, the development permit. We sent it over referrals, and the next step would be bringing it back to council. So this is an opportunity for this committee to give advice to Trevor or to give advice to staff as we process this one.
Gord, would you like to go first?
Well, let the proponent give a little short speech before we ask him any questions.
Okay, Trevor, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Would you
I'm
like?
not sure what kind of short little speech you'd like.
Well, just your future plans. Are you planning on expanding it past this, this building? You're bringing in more boats and more. I don't think you're in this. Are you in the sled rental business too?
Yeah. I just picked a few up last winter. Was my first winter. I've started doing that though. Yes.
Okay.
So as far as future plans go, I definitely have plans to expand, but that's, it's a very up in the air kind of time we live in right now. So that being said, the reason that we're looking at doing it in two different locations possibly is for that expansion reason, because of the bylaws of having the commercial residence a part of the commercial structure, or sorry, the residence part of the commercial structure. That we've always got plans for expansion in the future in that regard.
Okay.
Brian, go ahead.
Well, what do I have to say about that? So you have a rental business and a storage business behind your residence there. We drove by the property and looked at the site. It looks like it could use a little sprucing up. No offense or anything, but and the fence along the side, it's kind of, that's my first reaction. Is that it seems like in the town center, it's pretty important to have a commercial.
Excuse me.
Looking good.
I'm sorry, but I just bought the place. We just purchased this place in October, November. So we've done a ton of work around here already. You're absolutely right. This space has not been looked after at all, but that's not us. That's not our intention. So unfortunately, I agree with you 100%. I've got a quote to get rid of the two big trees in the front. Unfortunately, it's $10,000. So I can do a lot of raking of leaves for 10 grand at this point. The fence, we already have plans to remove the old fence. I've started it already and put up a new fence, and we're going to put up the same type of fence that Dean at After Dark Distillery did, so that we can continue with that theme. So we're not, you know, kind of, how do I want to say, conflicting as far as the look of it goes. So we're trying to make things look a lot better around here. We've renovated the complete interior of this because, of course, it is our residence. So that was the first and foremost, as it was a 1973 non-updated everything kind of place. We are going to paint the exterior of it as well. The roof's in good shape, so that's a non-issue. We cut the grass twice a week. I've built a gravel pad out back already for my boats to try and cut down on the amount of grass and weeds that we have to maintain. Plus, it's a lot cleaner. So we're trying really hard to work with this non-kept for 40 years kind of residence. So I hope that we're doing a good job, and we're going to continue to improve upon it, but you have to give us a little bit of time.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize you just purchased it. That's fair enough. I think, you know, my take on it is that for a development permit inside the, you know, the town center, you'd want to see what the front of that property would look like when you were finished your job, not what it is right now, is when, you know, what it's going to look like, what the proposal is, as well as the building that you're planning to build in the back, you know, what that's going to look like. You know, I think that it's an important piece of property. It's right downtown, and it just, yeah, it would be nice to know what it's going to look like at the end. That's kind of what I mean, but I'm sure you've put lots of work in already. So.
Can I speak now?
Go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, hi, Trevor. Yeah, so really glad to hear you're working with Dean. How high is the fence between you and Dean?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Okay, no worries.
I've never measured it. I'm going to say it's probably 6 feet because I can't quite see over it. So.
Okay, yeah, so where I'm coming from is it's kind of a similar but different angle to Brian. Is at the back half of the property, you do have a fairly clear view from Main Street unless you've got some kind of screening or a fence there. So right where you're right next to the distillery, not as big a deal. But like Brian says, the very front of the property on SHUSWAP is a very high profile location. So I recognize that, you know, like I know that you just bought this in November and I know you had a lot of work to do. So, but like Brian says, what it's going to look like when it's done, you know, if you wanted to give me a call and talk about anything, I do the communities in bloom, and I'd be happy to talk to you about, you know, some things you could do out front too. But I also I'm aware that, yeah, tree removal on trees like that is very expensive too. So, but just if you can be thinking about what it's going to look like in front, because that's probably one of the most important factors in any development in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could send me an email, Deb, so that we can get in contact, certainly that would be fine with me. I'd appreciate that.
Any comments, Gord?
Yeah, just to, you know, like everybody says, it's an important a piece of property in the downtown core, and it's great that you're starting to clean it up, and hope it works out and everything works out there.
Thanks.
So Trevor, I'm assuming you already have a business license for Sycamoose?
Of course.
And that you have, do you just deliver those, your rental items, or do you meet somebody, or do they come to your place, and are they going to be parking at your yard?
Generally, that's what happens, yes.
So they won't be parking on the street then? You have enough parking, you have enough area to park people that are renting your 'Cause I think you had like 4 boats and half a dozen Sea-Doos there. So.
Yeah,
which is-
it's 6 and 5, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you said you're gonna clean up the dwelling unit, but I just want to revert back to Scott. Scott, you mentioned something about, it might not be a permitted use.
Yeah, just looking at just gonna get my memo that I had, but yeah, looking at the uses, so yeah, the storage of second-party boats and other vehicles, maybe in existing non-conforming, you're allowed service and repair establishments. But it's possible rentals would be considered a use. In the C4 zone, then rentals, like boat rentals, are permitted use. I think the zone is flexible enough, and that's why the building or business license was issued, is because it's flexible enough that it could be a permitted use. But yeah, I'd say that's probably a little bit gray zoning bylaw right now.
Let me ask this. On a development permit, that's what you're looking at here, correct?
Yeah, development permit.
Will that trigger the idea of sidewalk and street lamp?
Probably not for the scale of the building proposed.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking because that's an important question.
Especially.
The second part is to, I'm sorry, Trevor, but when we worked on, I was one of the people on the OCP along with Deb Heap. And the type of use that you're referring to was basically zoned into Riverside, not SHUSWAP Avenue. And because we're just going through our OCP and because we're going to redo that with our new updated zoning bylaws, and that's coming up here in the next couple of months, I'm going to ask this, Scott if it might be better to have a temporary use permit as opposed to a permanent.
Right. So a temporary use permit it's a good tool if you want to be sure, if you're looking at an expansion and you're looking at investing in the property, a temporary use permit could give some assurance that the use is definitely permitted in the zone.
Okay. So, is that possible?
It's possible. Yeah.
Okay, so under a temporary use permit, would he be allowed to build that building?
The temporary use permit, it only really addresses the use. So
okay,
you can build a building and, you can always build a building on the property. You apply for a building permit. The development permit looks at the form and character of the building, and then the zoning bylaw, you'd be looking at what the building is going to be used for.
okay.
So I would say to service and repair an existing business, the building would be a permitted use.
Right.
Is the existing business a permitted use? Bit of a gray area.
Right. But I mean, the idea that this business is being called grandfathered because it's just started, because there was a residence before that had no business on it at all.
Right.
Our new zoning laws now are changing it. It's town center commercial. So I would feel more comfortable as the chair of the planning committee if we did a temporary use permit. And then as we finish off the work on the zoning and the rest of it, and that way it doesn't hang Trevor either.
Right.
So if he does everything that he says he's going to do and it looks good and it meets form and character, then at the end of the temporary use permit, it can be made the decision of being permanent.
Right.
Is that acceptable?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't have a clue what you guys are discussing right now. So I'm a little confused. You talk about temporary use. It's pretty hard for me to build a shop and use it temporarily. it would be a permanent thing. So maybe you could explain to me what it is you're trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, I think, I guess the direction we're going is, we want to be sure of what is occurring on the property and what is going to occur on the property. And perhaps, I think there is a little bit of you have a business license for your business. And I think there's a little bit of ambiguity in the zoning bylaw as to whether the rental of watercraft is permitted in the C1 zone. So that temporary use permit would give you some assurance that, you continue the use, and then as you work on the property, improve it, then, eventually it can become a permanent use. Temporary use permit, it's usually can be good for 3 years, and then it can be renewed for 3 years, provided you're meeting conditions of the permit. So that's something we can talk about. We've asked you for some additional information as far as the application goes. So as you provide that information, I can give you feedback and we can choose the best path for it.
Okay, I'm still a little confused, but because I need a permit now in order to run a business out of here. I thought I just needed my business license.
So you have your business license and you're operating the business as it is.
Yes.
And I think it's as you improve the property, you need the development permit, and that affects the form and character. So that's the information that we requested so we can see what the building's going to look like, see what the screening is going to look like, and the landscaping is going to look like. And I think what the chair of the meeting is asking for is a temporary use permit, and that would just provide some assurance that the use is permitted. I think where council would be concerned, where staff would be concerned, and this committee would be concerned is that, we're going to issue a development permit, we're going to issue building permits, and the use is going to be a use that's not permitted. And then we're in a situation where it's non-conforming and it just makes it more difficult to administer the property and the uses in the future. So I think it's something we can look at, but as you provide more information through your application, I can probably give you more concrete direction of which way to go.
Okay, that's not a problem. As long as I can do what I need to do here, it's all good.
So this is the chair, Trevor, Jeff. One of the things that's missing in this is that you've conveniently put the height of this is a proposed new garage with a sidewall, looks like maybe a 12-foot high door on it, but there are no other dimensions. So I don't know, is this a similar size to a single car garage? Is that what you proposed?
No, my apologies. The development committee, Scott and everything had the dimensions already. So my apologies. I did not. I'm looking at about a 30 by 30, 30 by 34, 35 shop. So no, it's not a single car. It's more like a triple car. So it's a decent size. But as far as it goes with all the screening and landscaping and stuff, there is none. It's just a shop I'm putting in the back. So that's kind of why it looks the way that it does. And I'm not the best artist either. Okay, so this is the chair again. So that was the reason for suggesting a temporary use permit, because we don't know this is not going to be a shop on skids where you can just bring in one thing. This is going to be a shop. So now having understood that, I would suggest that this comes back to the planning committee after you get some more information, Scott. Okay. Yeah. Is that all right, Trevor? So when you get what Scott has asked for, and you actually give us some form and character and the actual dimensions of what the building is going to look like, then I would suggest you bring it back here for either a development permit or a temporary use. A temporary use permit allows you to do that type of business on the property for 3 years. And like Scott said, it can be extended for a further 3 years only once. So that's 6 years in total. So
And the thing is that we're trying to make that the front of that place, if it's going to be business, if you look at our zoning bylaws for commercial downtown town center, if you were to look at what some of the people have done on Main Street with fixing up of the buildings, a lot of those buildings are the same age or older than the building you have, but they've done some phenomenal work to the front of them to make them look a little more like we have a town that we have some action going on and that people are proud to be here. So that's when you get a business license and you get your DP. That's where you're basically being forced to go. You have to meet what our town center, what do you call it? What's the word? Architecture or
Form and character.
form and character looks like.
Yeah, I totally understand that, but I'm not putting this in front. That's the thing. It's like I said, it's a shop. It looks no different than the shop that's just a couple of doors down from me. So, and I do require to run my business out of, and that's, and again, we went through all of this in order for me to obtain my business license this winter. All these questions were asked and answered. So as far as the look of it goes, I can certainly get you guys something, just like a frontal view, if that's what you're looking for. I don't have a problem with that. It's just going to be a metal building, just, you know, tin-sided building, like a shop is. And as far as the development goes, like I said, it's for the shop. It's not for the building sitting up front for all to see. That's the existing building. And we are going to do our best, like I said, to try and spruce it up. But I'm not putting a whole bunch of money into this old mobile. That's for sure, as far as the exterior of it goes. We are going to make it look as good as we can, you know, and that's the best that we can do. But so hopefully that you guys are going to work with me on that. And we're going to continue doing business here in town and get our property looking a whole lot better than it has in the past, and keeping us happy and keeping you happy.
Super. Well,
All righty.
any other comments? No. All right. Thank you, Trevor.
You're welcome. So the next step for me is?
The next step is to, look at the letter that we sent you, and with the additional requirements to complete the application, and then we can go from there.
Okay, because I'm trying to get things scheduled to get started building. So I'm just wondering time frame, because he talked about sending it back to committee. Is that something that is going to happen, or did I not hear properly?
No, yeah, this committee would like to see it again. So yeah, we'll aim to get the application complete and then getting it back in front of this committee.
And when will that happen, guys?
Likely the 23rd, but it depends on you getting us the information.
So then how do I obtain the building permit after that?
The building permit can be issued, you know, rather quickly, probably within, you know, we'll say a week of getting a completed building permit application. I mean, you could apply for a building permit today as well, and you could get a reply from the building inspector on what he's going to be looking for as far as foundation and truss drawings and things like that.
Okay, I'll do so. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor.
Have a good day. Have a good day, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you. Okay, F, zoning bylaw, public consultation plan.
So last week we presented a bit of a timeline to complete the zoning bylaw. So this week we've been working on the public consultation plan. I'm gonna trust Steffi and Sarah, and then we've hired a planning assistant, summer student to come in. And we're gonna make the main focus for her job is helping us with this public consultation plan. with not sure of how we're gonna be able to hold meetings. We're gonna focus on, a lot of electronic participation, maybe aim to have an outdoor event on July 1st. So with council or with the events happening around July 1st, then maybe have something out in the community. But yeah, as you can see, we're going to roll in some short-term accommodation consultation, that housing consultation, and then also the Main Street design. So we added that into this timeline as well, and focus on the health center. And just, I think the idea is to get some buzz around town that something's happening, and then also complete some zoning consultation, and hopefully by August, when we're looking to have the draft of the zoning bylaw in front of council, then all the community should be aware and have their say, and be really excited about some of the stuff happening in Sycamus.
Okay, comments?
Looks good. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to, initially I was a little confused about the Main Street charrette comment, because it was coming so late after all of the other zoning and such, Scott. Why is the Main Street charrette that far out? With it being a design planning kind of thing, I would have thought it would have been fairly early in the process. I know it's not zoning, but I would have thought it would have been happening pretty soon anyway.
Yeah, and I think I would say it's more of it's a little different project than the zoning bylaw.
Yeah.
The Eagle Valley Housing Society is working on their plans, and we're involved in that. And really, it's the charrette. We want to get lots of feedback on what people expect. It's not necessarily, it's not going to be part of the zoning bylaw, but it's going to be kind of part of a bigger visioning project. And really, I think if we want it done right, then it's going to take some time to organize.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just everybody would like to see, I guess, that project get moving, and so but I agree it will take some time to organize it too. So.
Well, Deb, it took 8 months to figure out the height of the curbs. It'd be interesting to see, because there was a 3 different conceptual drawings done 5 years ago of what Main Street could be. Was it going to have a center curve and no parking on the outsides? Wider sidewalks was one of the things. How high was the curve? Was it roll off the street? Was it any cars even on the street? There was like 5 options, and that was all in did we actually have that in the OCP, Deb?
Sorry, which?
The Main Street, whether it was going to be, I think that was a discussion after the OCP was done about what Main Street would look like.
We talked about it while we were doing the OCP, but it certainly continued after that too. So.
Yeah. So like I said, it's a decision that has to be made basically by the people, and I don't know. I kind of like the idea of the parking the cars in the center at an angle, and we have the roundabouts. We have the natural flow to do that. People were concerned about it, something that was high, they might have to step over it. Of course, Jamie right away is no road hockey, right? Well, our road hockey rinks aren't that, one lane would fit them anyway. So I'm just saying there was a lot of discussion about what they thought it might look like and how it might work. So, but no decision was ever made. Any more comments? No?
Scott, I was just going to ask, I know Joe is working on Main Street revitalization. Is there going to be any part of that?
right? So I think we're gonna tie it all in. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Well. So after you've done all this, have we actually sent this document out for review to anybody that's zoning bylaw?
So the zoning bylaw, it's had like a number of iterations. So there's the original from Mark Holland. And then it was, we sent it, another consultant updated it or provided a version. And now we're working on it as well. I don't believe it's gone out for referrals at all. I don't think it's been referred out to any outside agencies.
Okay. All right, well then, so even if we get done here by August 18th, I thought in one of these proposals, a couple meetings ago, we were talking about actually having it done this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd have to look at the schedule. I think we were aiming for August 1st for the final draft and then getting it out for referrals.
Yeah, but then when's adoption?
Yeah, adoption depends on council, but I'm hoping September we'll have a really good idea, and I'd like to see it adopted before November for sure.
Okay, all right, well, so would I. Okay, all right, if there's nothing else, adjournment recommendation at the Planning and Development Committee meeting for June 9th, 2021 be adjourned at 2:40. All right, second, it's all good, thanks.
Okay, thanks, guys.
See you later, Deb.
Yep.